Welcome to Year of Connection, a year-long journey toward becoming whole self-connected. I'm your host, Pauline Shu. Taking the lead can be done in many ways, through many forms, but no matter how you choose to do it, in this episode we'll talk about why being a leader in something that aligns with your core values matters to connection. Remember way back in episode 10 when we talked about joining something with enthusiasm? Today, we are going to talk about the flip side, leading something that others are welcomed to join in on with enthusiasm. There are many ways to be a leader. Some of us really enjoy standing up in front of a crowd and being the center of attention. Others prefer to lead behind the scenes. But it's important to recognize that both of these approaches are legitimate ways to leadership and that there's a wide spectrum of leadership opportunities between and even beyond these two endpoints. But first, let's talk about why leading something matters, even if you do it only once. Leaders have a hard job. It might sound like I'm trying to scare you away from doing exactly what I'm saying is important to do. But it's not scary once you can accept that leading is challenging. Accepting that is sometimes easier when you also think about how rewarding leadership is as well. It makes sense, right? Doing something challenging and coming out on the other side feels like an accomplishment because it is, and that is rewarding to your soul. One of the reasons why leadership is so difficult is because you are dealing with people. The wants, needs, and overall personalities of others are not uniform precisely because they are people. They are diverse, and they can be demanding. Many times, we also have a desire to satisfy everyone, to make everyone happy with our leadership. But another part of being a leader is accepting that not everyone will be satisfied, which is a very important reason why the things we choose to lead should support and in turn be supported by our core values, with the assumption that most people who join the activity share those core values as well. It's much easier to make tough decisions that might not satisfy everybody when we know that these decisions align with what we most fundamentally believe. And when we steer our ships along that course, calling to the same core values in others, the cohesiveness and connections created simply by believing in the same thing and seeing it in practice from a leader are much more solid than if you were to compromise your core values to try to make everyone happy. Because in the end, an approach like that makes no one happy. In short, leadership is hard, but if you can make decisions that do the most good for the most people along the lines of shared core values, connection is a natural product. And that is wonderful. Does it sound appealing to you? The actual process of leadership might not be. It might be out of your comfort zone. But I encourage you all to try it at least once, in a way that is healthy for you. If the idea causes you too much anxiety or might be detrimental to your emotional, mental, or physical health, then certainly don't attempt this. However, take a moment to be honest with yourself. If you're using your worries as an excuse not to try, then this might benefit you more than you realize by creating an opportunity to strengthen the execution of your core values and to build connection and community around those values, which in turn further supports a common high standard of behavior. So how does one go about taking the lead in something? Fortunately, we live in a society with a lot of options. Do you like to exercise? Consider creating a one-time running group where everyone meets up at a place that you organize and runs along a route that you decide. You don't have to be the fastest. You just have to help create the opportunity for others to come together. Along the way, too, you have the opportunity to encourage others in their pursuit of fitness, talk to other people to learn what motivates them to run, or share your own thoughts on groups coming together in support of a common interest or goal. Or perhaps you know how to do a craft like embroidery. Do you have a group that you already belong to? Creating a pattern that everyone can use is a less visible way to lead. You don't have to organize anything else. Just make something from which others benefit on a common level. Gives them an opportunity to share something that they might not otherwise have had. It's possible that you might want to do something longer term. For some things, like teaching in a more formal setting, you might be required to be licensed. But you could set up something like a book club where you meet monthly for several months, and that usually doesn't require being licensed. As a book club's creator and leader, this is a chance for you to exercise your own skills of organization and inclusivity. Members of the book club will look to you for guidance, and in turn, you can do for them what others have done for you in the past. Give them something to join with enthusiasm and allow them engaged input into the activity. It's possible that the books that you choose might be focused on a particular core value or a particular standard of behavior that you find important to your life. If you're really feeling ambitious, you might even think about starting a business, whether a for-profit corporation or a nonprofit organization. That requires leadership at a different level in a different way, but all of these options are forms of leadership. It's not a competition when it comes to how you decide to take the lead. You must do what works best for you and does the most good for the most people along the lines of shared core values. A word of caution, though. Throughout this episode, I've used the word most quite a bit. And that's important because absolutism makes for a much less connected version of leadership because there's less room for variation on standards of behavior, much less on core values. In fact, isolation is a form of absolutism after all, and that's a direct contrast to the goal of connectedness that we are trying to achieve. If none of the options that I've discussed today appeal to you, consider too that simply through your actions about being strong in your core values and holding yourself to high standards of behavior are already forms of leadership. If you're already doing that, keep it up. And if you're not yet there, you can still exercise your skills of leadership by continuing to improve those behaviors. Ultimately, from where I sit, leadership is about guidance, about being within the group or within a society to help bring people from a starting point to wherever they need to go, not about making them walk behind you to wherever you want to go. In the show notes, I've shared some teachings from Ram Dass, an American spiritual leader, but one of his most famous quotes is applicable here. And he says, "We are all just walking each other home." Consider taking the lead on something. Consider building community and offering guidance. Leadership gives something to the world, even if your gift is the chance for others to join something enthusiastically or to just walk each other home. Leading in any capacity further enhances whole self-connectedness because it tethers you to this life, to this earth, and to fellow humans in a really special way. If you have a story or questions that you'd like to share, please feel free to leave them in the comment box on this show's post or send me an email. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, I wish you safe travels.